Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you for joining this collaboration today. I'm really excited about it. If you don't know anything about Charlotte Mason, hang on and you are going to learn so much and all about habit training and what an atmosphere of education will look like. So I am actually fairly new to Charlotte Mason. I was intrigued about a year ago when we were doing preschool. I had never actually heard about it before. I was very familiar with Montessori, um, and Charlotte Mason was just not on my radar. And then suddenly, um, I was seeing a lot of videos and curriculum, and Charlotte Mason was all of a sudden very much so on my radar. And I have to say, I'm so thankful that we found Charlotte Mason. It has made a huge change in so many things, but it made me think so much more about the bigger picture. And I am just so thankful. So, a really good start to Charlotte Mason is this book. And I am still actually working through this book with a few of my mama friends. We've been meeting once a month on Saturdays to go through it. But For the Children's Sake by Susan Macaulay Schaefer, or Susan Schaefer Macaulay. I'm sorry. I mix that up all the time. Explains her principles and goes through a lot of her mannerisms. Um, and things that she expected. There are many attainments for the kids to learn, and it seems like an awful lot, but if you start early, this it works out really well. Um, it's a very gentle, holistic approach to learning that really takes the whole child and who they are, their entire being, into account. And I couldn't love it more. Also, I do think that I was quite possibly born in the wrong time era. So, Charlotte Mason's teachings speak to my mama heart. The Charlotte Mason Companion by Karen Andriola is another absolute Charlotte Mason must have. I also cannot emphasize enough getting her books and the home education series, and also, you can find them for free on the Ambleside Online site. So, Ambleside Online is another really great Charlotte Mason resource. There are a handful of books I have on my Kindle that have been super helpful, and I am currently working on um, a mother culture series that I have found really speaks to me, and I think in the current climate would be really great to involve other moms in. And Charlotte Mason was a huge proponent of mother culture. Karen Andriola really brought it to life and to light. But it's very important, and it reminds us to fill our cups so we can fill others. So, getting on to our habit training. Um, I wish I had known about habit training years ago. Habit training would have been the greatest thing for our family. Honestly, my big kids probably would have benefited from it quite well. Um, and I'm glad I have it now for my little ones. So they say that, maybe sometimes this is harsh, but Charlotte Mason intended for habit training to be a gentle, natural part of child rearing and kind of part of your routine. And she had 60 some habits that she focused on. It was recommended to start early so you could instill them right from the start. The three top ones that you are going to find talked about most often are going to be obedience, attention, and truthfulness. I think obedience is probably one of the most important ones, and it is actually part of the 10 Commandments. Children, obey your parents, and if they obey their parents, they're going to reap those rewards. If only all of us would have thought about that all of this time. Maybe if our parents would have thought about instilling that in us. I will say, when you get started into this, it seems very, very old-fashioned, but some of this stuff is really rooted in good stuff. So I would have to say obedience is one that even I struggle with. And so we are working on that here ourselves. But I have found that habit training myself while I am habit training my children has been a great motivator. So I have been trying to habit train myself to be thoughtful of my words and actions, and we're still working on that. And then I am also working on making sure I am reading 15 minutes a day. Doesn't matter what it happens to be. I'm going to pick a book up out of my stack that I have here in my room, and I'm going to read for 15 minutes a day. The one that I am working on with my children right now, and I wish I could work on a ton of them, all of them probably at once, would be obedience, because we definitely have some listening to mommy the first time issues. So I try to remind them with a very gentle reminder. If something isn't done the first time, I ask that we work on it. And sometimes I have to remember that they are little, and there is nothing wrong with me getting down on their level and guiding them in what I'm asking them to do. And I think a lot of us in the midst of parenting tend to forget that we can't just shout out orders to our children and expect them to get them, especially if this is something that's new to them. I cannot just look at my 6-year-old and go, okay, go out to the rabbit hutch and feed the rabbits. And I certainly can't say it to my 2.5-year-old. They can't do those things entirely by themselves. But what my 6-year-old can do is go out and make sure that she has the water containers for her chickens and her rabbits taken care of and filled every single day. After a few months, she doesn't have a problem doing this daily. I still go out. My husband still goes out. We help with making sure that all the animals get fed, but the kids help with every little bit of that. Chores, consistency in chores. Little kids, some people find it really silly. I have found that having a little chart with Velcro pieces that they can move around helps. It helps a lot. Having that visual reminder helps. But when it comes to picking up the toys, sometimes I have to either ask my husband to get down on their level and go in there and help and organize those toys, or I have to put a pause on dinner and go out there and show them exactly what it is I mean. And I try to think about that before I start yelling, because if I'm yelling, it's not benefiting anybody. No one is getting anything out of this habit training if I am not in control of myself. So it's not a gentle learning lesson. It's kind of a train wreck. And we would like to keep things on the rails. So There are some really great resources for that too. I have to giggle because Simply Charlotte Mason has a really great habit training series, and it has to do with trains. So you might want to look into that. I can also put a link in the description box. Truthfulness. Our children should be truthful, and they shouldn't be so terrified of us that they can't tell us the truth. Children fib, but we need to make sure that they understand that it's not okay. Omittance is not okay. Biblically, it's not okay. So those are some things that we try really hard to work on around here. So I guess my best habit training ideas would be work on habit training yourself. Each habit I would give 30 days to. So work on yourself, and also choose one habit a month to work on with your children. Keep track of it. Keep a habit journal, and put the details in daily, at the end of the day, in your journal. See how things went, and see the progress that you guys are making. And then each month build on each one of those habits. Don't necessarily let it fall to the wayside, because kids are smart and they are going to remember and suddenly notice that, hey, mom and dad are not necessarily paying attention to this. And then things kind of get a little hectic. So routines, habit training yourself, habit training your kids, 30 days, each different habit. Build on top of each one of your habits. Get your reading in. Get your Charlotte Mason reading in. I don't suggest doing it at night though, because Victorian or even translated Victorian is definitely when you're going to fall asleep before 15 minutes in. Catch up with the other mamas on here. Look up Charlotte Mason videos. Honestly, they have been some of my greatest helps. And working on chores with kids is a great obedience and truthfulness trainer, and attentiveness, because I think that I'm a big proponent of don't just do it, but do it right. So pay attention to what you're doing and give it your all, or you're going to have to do it over again until we have done it right. So those would be the big top three: obedience, truthfulness, and attention. And those are some really good ways to work on those. And I would honestly like to hear what you do for habit training and how you make an atmosphere of education for your kids. What are some of your ideas for chores? How do you keep things done? Like I said, we do use visual charts. We do have a sticker chart for every 15 minutes of piano that is practiced, every 15 minutes of dance that is practiced. And because practice makes perfect. And we try to adhere to as many of Charlotte Mason's principles here in our home as possible. So you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you at my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure that you check out all the rest of the incredible moms in this collaboration.